Good evening, everyone. We are here for another episode of Fireflies Forever. Uh, we got we have a lot to talk about, but I wanted to first start off by um, sending our condolences and keeping the Hawaii family in your thoughts and prayers. Sika of the Wild Samoans. Roman Reigns' father passed away today. Just wanted to let everyone know that. Just want to keep his family and all of his loved ones in your thoughts and prayers. So, um, another, a piece of our childhood. If you're around my age, he was doing it up. The Wild Samoans were awesome. So,
Oh yeah.
um,
Hmm.
I just want to get your thoughts, Chris, on the Wild Samoans and your memories of Sika.
Yeah, I definitely remember them early on when I was a little kid watching wrestling. I thought they were crazy. They were, one of those, you don't see it as much nowadays, but one of the things I loved when I was a kid, you saw more like theme tag teams like that.
Mhm.
Two people
Mhm.
together, like the Rockers and like the Bushwhackers and the Wild Samoans. Like
Yeah,
that was cool. A lot of, that you don't see as much anymore now. A lot of times it's just two random people thrown together. But I miss that. I like the old tag teams like that
yeah,
were themed together. It was really cool to see them.
yeah. It really was. I mean, and you bring up a great point. I mean, everybody had that character, that gimmick,
Mhm.
that was kind of a this is our team, this is who we
Yeah.
are, and you bring up the Bushwhackers. I absolutely love the
Oh,
Bushwhackers.
I love the Bushwhackers. They were great.
They were awesome. So, um, yeah. So, welcome in everyone. Thank you all for joining us. And I want to say this too. Thank you so much for all the all the folks that watched last week. There were a lot of you, so thank you all so much. We greatly appreciate that. Because I know I'm gonna forget to do it the rest of the show. If you don't mind, drop us a like on the video, and if you are new, first off, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And second, hit that subscribe button because we've got some future content coming, and you never know when that's going to drop. So hit that post notification bell so you know when we drop some content. So, um, Chris, we're gonna get to what we saw last night, but just a quick, like couple, maybe 3 words or 3 or 4 words what you thought about what we got last night.
I can only say one word, and that is wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wow. Um same question to everyone in the chat. Just a quick few words about what you thought about what we got last night from Uncle Howdy from Bo Dallas, who we're gonna say a lot about in a little bit. But man, just absolutely wow. That's really all you can say
Yeah.
without going too deep into it. Gus bringing up Pat McAfee, and Chris was telling me this before the show because I didn't know this. But Pat McAfee wasn't at Raw because his father-in-law passed away yesterday afternoon. So I want to send our condolences and thoughts and prayers to Pat McAfee, his wife, and their
Yeah.
families for sure.
Yeah. Pat said it was really unexpected. His father was in the hospital with an infection, and they were optimistic that he was going to be fine, but he took a turn for the worse and didn't make it.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's sad, man.
Yeah.
Definitely keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and um, yeah. I mean, we just got to be there for one another and let those we love know that we love them, and that's my philosophy going forward. Um, love on those we love. Um, all right. So speaking of Chris, you sent over a couple photos that you wanted to share with everyone this week. So
Yeah. Jodie came to visit me again, and I wanted to share it with everybody. I was sitting out on my patio again, and by myself this time. And keep in mind, this is a screened-in porch, so I'm still not quite sure how it even made it inside of the screened-in porch. But the first one was the other one that you have there. I was reached down, I felt something crawling on my leg, and I looked down to see what it was, and here's a firefly crawling up my leg.
Man.
And so I put my hand down there and got it onto my hand. And the strange thing, so not only was it weird that it was inside of it, somehow got inside of a totally screened-in porch, but I've never seen this before. Its light was constantly on. It wasn't flashing on and off like every other firefly I've ever seen was. It just stayed on all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never seen that before.
Wow. That is truly amazing. That's truly amazing, man, and special. I know that touches your heart.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even just every night right now, with it being summer, when I walk out on my back patio, I just see them, a whole bunch of them lighting up my yard. But then now, having these experiences even inside my patio is wild.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. She's definitely coming to visit you.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure, man. Yeah, that's man, that's so it's just special. I know it's special. And those moments mean a lot.
Yes.
So all right. So we're gonna show a little bit of art. I've got quite a few pieces of art. What I will say is this. So if you see any artwork, if you are an artist yourself, do us a favor, email us your art, or you can send it to the Insiders on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you follow us. DM us, send it to us. And yeah, I mean, because we want to get your artwork, we want to showcase as many people as possible. Heck, send it to Chris. Yeah, I mean, send it to any of us. We will be more than happy to take your artwork. Because we can't get to it all. But we can take as much as you want to send us, and we can, go through it on here. We can do an extra video and highlight it that way too. So send us artwork. I do have quite a few artists spotlighted this evening. But yeah, so I just want to encourage everyone to send your artwork and be kind to one another too. This artwork, this is a lot of people, this is their way to honor Bray, or regardless of what it is, it's their way of getting their creative process out and share it with the world. That's special. That's a gift. So be nice to these artists. Be nice to people who go, above and beyond to create pieces that they share with the world, and we can consume. So I'll step off of my soapbox now. Sorry. Oh man. Okay, so this is an edit by Eric Rousseau, Wyatt OG. This is a cool edit. I really like this edit.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
somebody was asking for my Twitter. I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay, put it in the chat. Okay, awesome. Absolutely, Gus. You absolutely can, and take a picture and send it to us, man. We'll gladly showcase it. Absolutely. And I'm gonna throw this out there too, folks. If you have kids and they do art, share it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is an awesome edit. So we'll move to Brittany K. She's she was fast at work on some of these.
Yes, she is.
So yeah, so
those are so cool.
They are. They're really cool. I love that one too.
Yeah.
That one's good. They're all great, but
oh yeah. Howdy just looks so good.
Yeah, so good. And this one's really cool. And you see Bray's face in the background. That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna move next to Hurdy sketch. I saw this one
too.
Yeah, it's sick, man. I love it.
I didn't think he can make Nikki look even more evil, but he managed to do it.
He did it. He did it. So yeah, that's awesome work by Hurdy sketch. So go follow him, support his work. Same with all these artists. Support their work. Go follow them. I think I'm gonna start adding their social media handles to these as we share going forward. So yeah. All right, and then we've got Nicole, who I saw in the chat.
That's really cool too.
Yeah,
especially
really
after what we saw last night.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty darn cool.
Oh yeah.
Great work by all of these artists. Like I said,
these are amazing. I couldn't do anything like this.
No, me either. I can't. I can't. The best I can do is, some graphic design. I can't draw or anything. So if my computer can't do it, I'm pretty much at a stick figure, and my daughter told me never to draw a giraffe again. So she was like, Daddy, that doesn't look like a giraffe. I'm aware. So for everyone that's joined us since the beginning, welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Like we do every week, we'll do this every week. We share memories and special moments, like Chris shared with us a little earlier about his visit from Fireflies and Jodie being there, feeling that presence. So I know that's special for Chris, and thank you, Chris, for sharing those moments with us. And then we go to our artwork, which is a staple from this show and its previous iterations. And we felt like this was a part that we had to keep because we know how much Jodie loved in showcasing all of your talents.
She used to always come to me like, "You gotta see this. I'll check out the artwork I just found." Like, she just loved that stuff so much.
Yeah, she really did. So we wanted to keep that going too. Hanzo saying, "I've got some art. I'll send you next week." Hey, sounds good, man. Send it our way. Yeah. Send it our way, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Steve, what's up, Steve? Saying, giving y'all views on 2 platforms, watching on YouTube on my TV and commenting on Facebook. We appreciate that. We appreciate that, man. We really do. Deanna saying, "I love the artwork." Yeah, we love it too. I mean, we love it too. I've got another edit that I'm going to share, but I'm going to share it as we get into what took place last night. First, I know Chris had a musical artist that he wanted to highlight, so we've got our music spotlight. So Chris, take it away.
So this is someone I discovered recently, and I thought it'd be cool to share with you guys. His name is Forrest Frank. He's a Christian hip hop artist, but it's very different than any kind of hip hop I've ever heard. It's like, I don't even know how best to describe it. You really just have to listen to it. It's so very different from anything else I've ever heard. And it's very just positive and uplifting with his messages these days. And the what I love most about the music is the vibe of it. Like, if you like are in a bad mood, go put on some Forrest Frank and you won't be in a bad mood for very long, because his songs just have this vibe to them that will just cheer you up and get you out of whatever you're dealing with. It's so cool.
That's all. Yeah, and when you send it over, I listened to like 2 clips real quick. Yeah, I like it. I like the vibe, man. I love
it's
I
such a
love
cool
that vibe.
vibe. Like, it's something that you can just listen to while you're just chilling, doing nothing or whatever. Like it has such a good vibe, and it's just so uplifting and positive.
Yeah, and we definitely need more of that.
Yeah,
Definitely need more of that. So yeah, so I I've been wanting to talk to someone about this all day. Um, man, last night. Okay, so just to set it up, um, Chad Gable is still alive for those of you who didn't watch Raw last night. Oh, he's
he can never be
still
killed, according to him.
according to him. He's just he's invincible. So yeah, Chad Gable actually won and qualified for Money in the Bank. So um he did that. He tried to get back with the Alpha Academy, the rest of Alpha Academy, and Otis just was not having it. Goes back out and yeah, we started to get Nikki Cross. We got some smoke and she shows up crawling around. I gotta be honest. Hopefully Joe wasn't too scared last night.
I was waiting to see if she starts spider walking.
I know.
It's gonna happen. I know it.
At some point, and you know what? I hope for all of us that it is on stream when it happens.
Yeah, we need to
I
get Joe's
so
live reaction to it.
yeah, we need that live reaction. That's what we need. So yeah, so last night, that's what we get, and man, like I just want to skip ahead because honestly, this might have been one of the best like video segments that we've gotten in quite some time.
Yes.
And we got there because Nikki handed a box to Michael Cole. He opens the box later, and then he's like, "We'll see if someone can find a VCR because
I love that they threw that in. They didn't even explain what a VHS tape was.
I love that. I loved it. So
and even later, like we finally tracked down a VCR.
Yeah. So they track it down, and we get this video, and man, I just got to get your full reaction. Just what did you think when we first got the video once it started and we got Howdy there? What did you think we were going to get, and how did that match up to what we ultimately got?
Pretty much the exact opposite. I fully expected that he was gonna be talking to Pat McAfee. I thought he had kidnapped Pat McAfee, and he was going to be sitting here talking to him tied up in a chair or something like that. That was what I was expecting going into it.
Because we did get that moment on Pat's show, as you can see the clip here, where there were some shenanigans going on in that studio, and things went dark.
Was addressed to Pat also.
Yeah.
So I think he definitely was supposed to be doing part of that story before
I agree.
Real world things happen, but
I agree. All right, so you exact opposite of what we got.
Yeah, not at all what I was expecting. Didn't know we were gonna go so real.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess, and I know we chatted a little bit about this earlier, but when you mention it's real, I know what you're talking about, but I just want you to share with the chat what you're referring to and how it connected with you.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that this is all happening right now because I'm almost seeing two sides of it. Like you know, whereas most people are seeing, you know, everyone's connecting to this obviously because we all miss Bray, and you're so sad still about his passing, but you know, most people are only seeing that side of it. They're sad about Bray passing and seeing what he's going through, deal with it. But now, me on the other hand, I'm still experiencing that too, obviously. But now with Jodie having the whole other side of it, like that hit me so hard, and I have not been able to watch it. I've watched it again several times. I haven't been able to successfully watch that without crying, just because I know exactly how Bo feels. Exactly. Some of the things he said are things that I've said myself about Jodie. Like you can pretty much almost replace every time he says brother, replace it with wife for me, and that's how I
Yeah.
feel. Like I wrote a couple things down that I wanted to remember and talk about, and like the line that I really liked that he said was, "There is no one on this earth that feels more hurt than me." You know, talking about Bray's passing. Not one person on earth feels what I feel. I have said that exact thing after, and you know, in dealing with this. Like no one on earth feels what I feel when it comes
Right.
to losing Jodie.
Right.
So I know exactly what Bo's going through, and I feel for him because it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hard place to be. That's
Yeah.
a hard place to be. Absolutely. Um, there was a line for me, and when he said it, my mind started going because I've either said something like this or have written it in some way, shape, or form. But he was like, "What am I supposed to do? Let him become a mausoleum?"
Mm-hmm.
And that I was like, I was blown away by
Mm-hmm.
that. And again, you know, I know that this is a wrestling show that's doing, you know, a storyline, but I'll share with you all what I said to Chris before we started live. It was almost jarring coming back to Raw and going from what we got to having to go back into the mode of, oh, now we get matches again.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're doing the wrestling thing again because this felt so real. This felt so impactful. You could feel the emotion, the intensity, the mood. I mean, you could feel it.
Oh, I got lost in that promo completely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, you know, it's like when it was over, I don't know how many others said this, but I was like, okay, I need like a good solid 15 minutes of this, 20 minutes of it. Hell, give me an hour of it. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But this was so good. And I gotta say this. I heard this earlier on a video. I wish I remembered which creator it was. I apologize. But they said if you were a fan of Bray, or if you were a fan that was skeptical about Bo's ability to be able to take this storyline and really be successful with it and take it to places we've never seen before. If you had those questions, last night pretty much answered those questions. What do you think about that, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. And kudos to Bo too. Like, I don't know how he was even able to do that. Like, I couldn't, you know, it's hard just sharing stuff like that, saying things like that, you know, just to a few people here. Like, I can't imagine sharing such personal thoughts and feelings of your broken heart to millions and millions of people on TV.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like the way that they did it, which I thought was excellent. At first, when we first got into the room, which we'll talk about that because I've heard people kind of theorizing about where they actually were.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the shot of Howdy, and then we get the shot of Bo, but then we get this shot.
Mm-hmm. I love the way they did that too, of not seeing who it was at first.
Yeah. I mean,
and I didn't even catch until the second time I watched it that they were in the funhouse. First
yeah,
time I was so engaged in just watching every little expression and thing they had that I didn't even notice. Where I thought they were just in a black room, like
yeah,
I didn't even
yeah,
notice it.
yeah. Because you get so lost, I think, in the emotion
Mm-hmm.
and the delivery. Like again, I say you could feel it because of the delivery, and
Mm-hmm.
you could tell like that this comes from a very, very real place. And
Yeah.
just to share, and this was an edit that I saw out there, and I might have the creator wrong on it. If I am, I apologize, and I will correct that and show it again next week. But these were the questions that Howdy asked
And
Bo.
those were in one of the QR codes that we previously got, every single one of those questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are you happy? How have you been since the loss? Do you feel as though you have been forgotten? When he asked this next one, it jarred me too, because I was like, there wasn't a delicate way. There wasn't anything delicate about the way he said it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a kind, like, let me ease into this. It was just boom. How did you feel when your brother died?
That's just a gut punch.
That's a gut punch. That's a gut punch. And the next one too, and you had those critics and people out there posing this question. So then he asked, don't you think you're exploiting your brother's legacy?
That was one of the things I wrote down in my notes that I wanted to talk a little bit about. I really liked that they included that as like a jab to all the critics saying that, and I absolutely love the way he answered it. Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't want his brother to be forgotten. Like, he wants to fight for the things that he fought for and stand
Right.
up for the things that he stood up for. So I absolutely commend him on that. I don't think at all he's exploiting his brother's legacy.
Right. Not at all. He's keeping that legacy alive
Mm-hmm.
by
And I've
doing
seen a lot of things on, comments online now. There's been a lot of back and forth I've seen about whether or not some people think Bo might play the Fiend, and some people think that would be a good idea. Some people think it'd be a bad idea. My take on it, and I actually said something in somewhere to this effect, that I don't think that that's for us to determine. This is
right.
all of this boils down to Bo's doing this to honor his brother's legacy and carry on what he feels he should have done. So if he thinks he should play the Fiend, if that would honor Bray, then he should do it. If he doesn't, then he shouldn't. Like, our thoughts on it don't matter. This is all about him and how he feels best to honor his brother's memory. It's
Yeah.
not for us to say whether that's a good idea or a bad idea.
Right. I I'm glad that you said that, and I just want to add to that and say I think that after what we've gotten thus far, and especially what we got last week and then what we got last night, we are in good hands.
Mm-hmm. Very good hands. Mhm.
I feel that strongly. So
Yes, me too.
I, I'm like, if listen, whatever you feel. I mean, he even said like in this last night, I want it to be him.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up to him. I mean, again,
And then he worked his whole life in his career and worked hard to get to the point where he could work with him, and then it was taken away from him.
it's
And,
taken away.
Mhm. And I know exactly how that feels like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, Yeah, you and I felt every single one of those words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, I mean, this. Yeah, Steve saying Taylor has the whole world in his hands now. I mean, he has captivated us all.
Mm-hmm.
If there were any, again, back to that comment that was made, if there were any doubts, please remove them. Otherwise, I just think you're a hater at this point. And this
Yeah.
isn't for you, and that's fine. There are going to
Yeah.
be people that this isn't for. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not for you, don't crap on it and try to ruin it for other people. If it's
Yeah,
for
because
them,
at this point, and what it is, crapping on it is basically crapping on Bray in my eyes. Like, this is all about him. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, this was brilliant. I mean, and again, looking at it from a performance standpoint, you look at the expressions.
mm-hmm.
You look at
Oh,
Taylor here, and then you look at Howdy and the contrast.
oh, that was something else that I noted. I wanted to talk about some of Howdy's expressions. There was especially a point. So it was when he was talking about everyone forgetting Bray and him. They do a couple shots like this, and this is one of them you got there.
Mhm.
Looking back at Howdy with this smile, it reminded me so much. Do you remember back during episode 3 of Star Wars when Palpatine was talking to Anakin and trying to convert him to the dark side,
Mhm.
and he was like, he had a smile like that, and he's like, "Good, let me feel your anger," and made comments like that. That's how I felt Howdy was during this. Like, he's encouraging Bo to just pour out these emotions. I felt like Howdy is trying to get him to just let the emotions take over and
Mhm.
rile him up almost like that. That's the vibe I got from Howdy during this.
As you were saying that, I was thinking about Howdy as the therapist almost.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've gone places there, with therapy and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, wow, wow. I don't know if I said this already, but Hanzo, thank you for the super chat. He said, "I've got some art. I'll send it in next week." Hey, looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much for sending it. I did see we have a birthday, so Jacob, happy birthday to you. I'll play the little sound because we got to shout people out on their birthday. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Happy birthday, Jacob. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. So, yeah, but yeah, man, his expression, yeah,
I'm so curious to see where this goes. Like, what's he trying to get Bo to do? Like,
yeah. BLS saying Howdy trying to get Bo to go dark, wants to consume him.
I almost wonder if it's like how the Fiend was. Is he trying to get Bo to just let Howdy completely take him over?
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And something else, I saw this somewhere on Twitter. I can't remember who made the comment, but I really liked it. Like, it makes a lot of sense that we always talked about the fun house was in Bray's mind. So this seems like maybe we were looking into Bo's mind, but notice how the funhouse was dark. And I
Mm.
think that might be because of Bray being gone. The color's gone out of it. Now it's just dark. When he thinks about the funhouse, he just sees darkness.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that's a good point. Wow. Because like you said earlier, I was so focused on who was there
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't focused on where they were.
Yeah. Oh, I had to go back 2 or 3 times and watch it just to like soak up every little detail and try and see what I might have missed and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Chris. I mean, that's wow. I mean, from his perspective now we're seeing it from his perspective. Yeah. And yeah, and I mean, there were a few times where we got a lot of emotion from Taylor.
Yeah.
We had those times where he took that inhale and he had to compose himself as best he could. And but I guess, Chris, just to sum this part all up, because I want to talk about what the possibilities may be. But I guess one, with Taylor, Bo Dallas, your impressions of just how he handled last night, what he was able to do, and then, are you a fan of them doing this with other members of the group?
Oh, that was one of the first things I thought was I hope we get more tapes going forward and have similar things of Howdy talking to all each of the other people in the group, their actual self. Like that would be so cool to get, because I felt like this started already provided us just a little glimpse of backstory into what's going on here. Why we saw their attack and everything, but why did they do that? Well,
Right.
now you see, well, look at Bo, like look at what he's dealing with, all this emotion and pain that he's dealing with, like and now we see Howdy is trying to manipulate that pain and get him to lash out, but he's doing it from a place of, well, you don't want to be forgotten, you don't want your brother to be forgotten, you got to make him remember. Like, so I feel like Howdy's goading him on into, and that I think we'll probably see that more. Who's he going to goad him into attacking next? Like, he's like, that you got to make these people remember. You don't want them to forget.
Right. And that, I thought that was when he said, they forgot. It was like they tried to forget about all of us, but we made them remember.
Yeah.
And how,
I think that was going, because some people, there'd been some criticism when we first heard about this. Like, some people were like, "Oh, they shouldn't do that. They should just leave Bray's legacy alone. You can't have any of this stuff without Bray. They shouldn't keep going with it or blah blah blah." Like, yeah, I love that they mentioned that. Like,
yeah. I mean, they answered. I think Deanna said this earlier. They asked and answered all of the hard questions, all of the things that you could bring up to say, well, you're only doing it because of this. And like, nope, here's why. This is why we're doing this. How did I feel after my brother passed? Here, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how it feels. And it's that emotion, man, that just really sent this over the top. I mean, and you said, you brought up a promo a little earlier, I think, before we got on live. You were talking about the significance of last night's promo and where you thought that fit. I'll just I'll have you share that that thought with the chat.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought of in watching that was, it reminded me so much of that first promo when Bray came back after Extreme Rules on SmackDown and just came out and was, he said that, this is totally me for the first time. I just wanted, to come out here and this is me being me, is what he said. And it was just so real and emotional. And, and this just felt completely like that. I love that, because that was one of my favorite Bray promos that he ever did.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, man. That one to me that's one of my top, like, all time favorite Bray promos because of the authenticity and how it felt. And again, you know, talking about that feeling again, we felt last night. He's really connecting with people, and to be able to do this the way that they did it last night, I just thought it was brilliant. I really did think it was brilliant. I want to ask this: does it help you? I guess, does it help the story? Does it help these characters having that wide shot, and we don't just see one shot of Howdy, one shot of Bo. We're seeing both of them in screen talking, and you know, obviously, if you know, editing, all that good stuff, green screens, we get it. But the visual of it, I feel, was so, I think, masterfully done, because as a wrestling fan, you're like, okay, I know Bo Dallas is portraying Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing them both. So what did you think about the way that they did that? And do you think that's effective in how they tell this story going forward?
I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I actually saw a post on Facebook earlier, someone talking about this, like, you know, asking the question of, well, how, I thought Bo was Uncle Howdy, so how was he there talking to himself? And I just, like, you know, this is all a fantasy world. I mean, essentially, wrestling is, you know, when you really boil it down, yes, I know that you know, obviously there's, you know, tons of athleticism and stuff involved, and not just anybody can do it. But really, when you boil it down, wrestling is not that different than any movie or TV show we watch. It's live TV, it's production and everything. So I don't think about stuff like that when I'm watching this. I like to dive in and delve into this world and not think about the realism of it. I mean, obviously this had some realism to it, but I mean, like, you know, same thing if I'm watching a movie. Like, I don't think about the why or what are they doing here. Like, I'm just enjoying the story and putting myself into it and just forgetting everything else and being involved. So I love this. I love that you could, you know, see, like, we're seeing into Bo's mind right now. We're seeing him, you know, talking to this alter ego of himself. Like, so I love it. I don't think about the logistics like that.
Yeah. Here, so you brought up a couple great points, things that I absolutely 100% agree with, for sure, because I think you'll suspend your disbelief for a movie or a TV show, but not wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, it doesn't really compute to me, number one.
Yeah.
But then I think, for me anyway, this is something that if we were watching a movie, you would see this. Like, if we were watching this as a horror movie, and Bo, who's also Uncle Howdy, was having a sit down, quote unquote, with himself, it would be done this way.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. 100%.
So why is it acceptable in one, you know, form of entertainment over
but yet
the
we didn't hear people complaining about when Undertaker used to shoot lightning out of his fingertips or anything like that. Why are people complaining about it now? Like, yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, nobody said that Taker stick his finger in the socket. I mean, nobody ever said that. We just accepted the fact that Undertaker was that dude and he could do that. So, Hanzo, thank you again for the super chat, saying, I can say you were there when I was weak, when I was vulnerable, when I was down. I just want to say thank you. You all saved my life. Love you, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. I heard he sketched to that point saying, well, Undertaker wasn't really grounded in reality. Exactly. I mean, you know, there were
none of this really is that grounded in reality, you know.
Right. Right. I mean, it's just not, because if you like even going to the matches and think about the decisions that some of the talented folks that we love and admire, think about the decisions they make during a match,
Hmm.
especially if they're a face. Do you think they'd fall for that every single
Yeah.
time? At
Yeah.
some point, it's like, okay, fool me once, y-
Hmm.
you know the rest of it.
Yeah.
But
Especially in the decades and decades of wrestling, you're still seeing similar things that we've seen for 30 years. Like people would have learned and they would have done things differently, but it's entertainment. At the end of the day, this is entertainment, and I'm thoroughly entertained by it.
exactly same. I'm thoroughly entertained and enjoying what they've done, and what they're doing. Hanzo saying Howdy is most likely tinkering with reality and fiction as expected. Yeah, um, I love it. I love it. 1989M saying hello, fans. What's up? Thank you for joining us. Um, Steve actually ended up watching us from a third platform. Chris, he even watched us on X for a little bit. So,
Nice.
so giving us those views, we appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Clown saying Stone Cold beat up his boss every week for 2 years and kept his
Yeah.
job. That is not
There you
real.
go. He gave him a beer bath. Like, come on
Exactly.
now.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, calm down. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
If it's not for you, I understand that.
right.
Well, watch something else. That's cool. Whatever you're into. But like, you don't have to. Not everything needs to be completely picked apart and wonder how they did it or why they did it or.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Mhm.
Uh Johnny Bates, say his name and he appears. I believe in Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy. What's up, Bates? Yeah, we were talking about Joe Hendry earlier too. By the way, if you've never watched Joe Hendry, do yourself a favor. Look him
Yes.
up on YouTube. Look at all of his songs that he's
Oh,
done. Uh,
I'm addicted to his songs now.
what's your favorite one? Favorite one so far?
The one for Matt Cardona.
Yeah, Edge. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that was good. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. That's real good. Yeah, check out TNA wrestling. We'll be doing our watch along for it this Thursday at 8 p.m. So come check it out with us. Deanna, thank you for the super chat saying I think part of the problem been for some is some of the conversation um too close to reality. Okay. For some, too close to reality in terms of a little too close to home, a little too emotional for some. I think though, and Chris, I want to get your opinion on this. I
Mhm.
think that's when entertainment is at its best.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, obviously it hits close to home for me, but I still enjoyed it and I like that. I like that they're incorporating some reality into this. Just like I was stunned last night. Like I said, I had a different expectation. I that got done and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said what I said earlier when you asked me that. Like that was what I just kept thinking. Like, man, they just did that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not expect them to go that. I mean, I know we got that one thing in the QR code when we saw the questions, and that was one of the questions about your brother dying, but I didn't expect them to go full on with that.
Yeah. It was, man, it was so well done. I mean, it went there. It went places that it had to go. But I think if you're watching something and they can make you connect to two or more emotions while
Hmm.
watching it, then they have your attention.
Yeah.
And that's who they want. They want the people who it's like, okay, I really connect with this story. I need more of it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the majority of us right now. I mean, we
Yeah,
love
I was
this type
just
of
in a
story.
general sense. I was thinking about that after Raw last night. Think about the last couple of weeks of Raw and SmackDown. Like, it's been completely incredible. Every one of these last couple Raw and SmackDowns, it's just been unbelievable. To think the turnaround, just in the last year or two, from how it was, like it's crazy. Like, it's can't miss TV now. These
Yeah,
storylines are just so good.
yeah, I agree. And obviously we're here. We love this one. This one is special to all of us.
Mhm.
But they've got some really great storylines and good storylines and entertaining storylines all up and down the card right now.
Drew and CM Punk is going to be a masterpiece whenever they finally get in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, this is so good. This is so good. Let's see. I did see a comment. James Jordan saying, since we know Alexa is coming back soon, I think we talked about it last week, but we can, talk about it for a couple minutes because I think this goes into what's to come. So kind of if we see how things have happened, how we think they may go. But he says, since we know Alexa is coming back soon, even was a teaser on the back of a truck, where would you put her in this story? So, Chris, where would you put Alexa in this story? Let's say she comes back SummerSlam. Where would you put her in this storyline?
First of all, I definitely don't think that was a coincidence that she was on that truck as Chad Gable walked by. We know that WWE loves to do little teases like that, so I definitely don't think that was a coincidence. But I don't know. I really think that we're going to see Alexa come back as just normal Alexa for a while. I could be wrong, but I really think that we're going to see her come back to old, Miss Bliss, and she'll be her old self for a while. And then, maybe down the road, I what I really would like to see is her get attacked after she comes back as regular Bliss, and then see where it goes from there. Maybe after she's been attacked, they're able to convert her and she comes back, or something like that. But I don't know. I'm of a lot different mindset, I think, than most people. I don't need Alexa to be part of this. Not even totally sure if I want Alexa to be part of this, to be completely honest.
I think my take on it is I think she will be involved at some point, but I think she will be a foe. The reason I say that is because she really didn't get her comeuppance for what
Yeah,
she did at
exactly.
WrestleMania 37, I believe. So,
And neither did
uh,
Randy.
and neither did Randy. And I think he's another one that at
Yeah,
some point, if they're doing what I think they're doing, that I think Randy's going to be on that list
I
too.
hope so.
I hope so. I really
Been
hope
wanting
so.
that for
So
years.
yeah, and I know a lot of folks out there have also been asking about Braun Strowman. Um, Deanna just said, "What if Bliss and Braun are on the bad side of Howdy?" I mean, what do you think about Braun and where he could fit? Do you think they just kind of let him do his thing right now and keep him away for a little bit? How would you bring Braun into the fold?
I think so too. It definitely seems like they're letting him do his own thing, but again, I could definitely. In reality, he deserves to be attacked too because he was at last before he left. He was in a feud with the Fiend, and Bray tried to get him to come back, and he refused. So I mean, really, he deserves to get got too.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I think James said this that some of these folks may be forced to join at some point.
Yeah.
I honestly, I mean, I could see that. Now, I want to ask this before we go, because I did want to get to some future stuff. But what do you make of Chad Gable's sudden change of heart when it comes to um the Alpha Academy? And his mentioning several times of the word family.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else pick up on that?
Yeah.
What did you make of that? Do you think that this attack somehow, I mean, yes, from a if we're talking about reality, since people like to do that. If you're talking about reality, you get beat up like that and attacked like that by a scary group of people, you're going to be shaken up. You're going to be reevaluating some things and thinking about how you've done that. So do you think it's anything more than that? Or do you think that they've somehow infiltrated his mind and we're going to see more changes with one Chad Gable?
I think it's too early to tell so far. My initial thought is I think that was just him being selfish. He was looking out for himself. He just, he's like, I'm in trouble here. I need people to help me. So I think he was just thinking about himself and wanting to have backup to help him in this. I didn't see it as him really all of a sudden caring about them again. I think it was a very selfish thing that he was coming from. So I hope that I didn't like that Maxine said she was gonna talk to Otis and try and convince him to take him back. Like I hope they stay apart. Like I hope Chad is on his own in this.
Yeah. EJ Movement saying Gable don't mean it with Alpha Academy. He will turn on them again.
And then we saw, of course, what I think will probably happen, and we got a little tease of it with the Creed brothers showing up right after he got rejected. I think that's the route he's going to go. I think he'll get them to help him, and that's going to be his new family.
They definitely planted that seed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely there.
One other thing I wanted to say too, going back to what we were just talking about with Alexa and Braun, I worry about the group getting too big if we add more people to it. We've seen that before in factions. Sometimes if they get too big, it just gets watered down and can get lost in it. So I don't want to see it get too big or people get overshadowed in it either.
Yeah.
So that's my hesitations with Alexa or Braun being part of it.
Do you think they need to be kind of capped out at where they are now, or do you think they have room for maybe one or two additional people? What are your?
I really like it how it is now, especially that they're the Wyatt Sicks. Then I know they're spelling it different, but they still incorporate the number 6 into it. That has meaning, and with the 5 of them and Bray in spirit, like I think it's perfect how it is. I don't like it being more than that, honestly.
Gotcha.
So, but what I think could happen is maybe at some point someone leaves the group, or we lose somebody, maybe Gacy or Dexter or something leave down the road or whatever, and then somebody else comes in. That could be interesting down the road. But I like it where it's at.
Gotcha. Yeah.
People.
Yeah, I think when you add too much, it's you're not necessarily going to get the best.
Mm-hmm. And we still have so much more to delve into as it is. We still need to find out more about why are all these people doing what they're doing, and I know how in people's in a lot of short attention spans today, a lot of people want to automatically jump to the future and stuff like that, and I like talking about it and theorizing and stuff, but I'm so excited just to see where this goes right now.
Yeah, I am too. I'm all in on this, honestly. I'm all in. Care Oak saying this new Howdy mask looks oddly reminiscent of the original Undertaker mask. You know what? I want to pull this back up real quick because
I noticed that. I remember that.
Yeah. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really does. Wow. A few more questions here, and we'll get to the end of the show. Joe Shipley saying, "Do you think the Wyatt Sicks will attack Gable again at Men's Money in the Bank?"
There's a good picture of it there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it does. It It really does
Yeah,
resemble that.
it does.
Absolutely. All right. So Joe asks, do you think the Wyatt Sicks will attack Gable again at Men's Money in the Bank?
That's the thing I'm wondering about now. I don't quite know. I'm still curious to see where Gable fits into this because, he got attacked and then Nikki came out after last night, but then she seemed interested in him at first, but after he took off, she went and gave the package to Michael Cole. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see if Gable's going to continue to fit into this, or where do we go next? I don't know. I could definitely see him getting attacked again, especially the way he was cocky about it. Oh, you can't take me down. I'm invincible. Well, let's see about that.
Yeah, let's find out. We can find that out real quick. Oh, yeah,
Be cool if say he's up on the top of the ladder about to grab the case and the lights go out and then all of a sudden they come back up and he's just gone.
just gone. Yeah. Just out of there.
Yeah, and then we see him later and beat up in the back or something like.
Shane agreeing with EJ Movement, saying, I don't really think Chad had a true change of heart. I think he's scared and wants protection.
Yeah, I don't think so.
1989M says, big question on the horizon is if Howdy and Cole will remain being booked as babyface. The concept is very heelish in nature. We are in the honeymoon phase. What do you think about that comment?
And we've talked about this a little bit before. I don't think that really matters at all with them. I don't even think there needs to be any kind of label on them because Bray always was, with both, depending on the scenario, and I think that's how these guys are going to be too.
Yeah. I think with groups like this, I think the best way to do it is to blur the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Blur the lines.
They're going to love it no matter which way they are anyway. So
exactly. I think you blur the lines because they're going to go after people that we like.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I think
right
they
now
go
Randy's the face.
Right.
So
exactly.
They go after him.
Yeah, I mean, I think
maybe that's what turns him back into a heel.
Right.
If he gets attacked.
I think they could go after Cody at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't
there.
Yeah, I don't think it's anytime soon.
I would love to see them go back and get revenge on anybody and everybody who ever wronged Bray. I think that would be really cool because there's a long list.
Yeah, long.
Go after CM Punk for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to get Roman back at some point. I mean, there's just so many different.
One more thing I just remembered that we got to talk about. Did you see the interview with Triple H on the Pat McAfee show?
I did not get a chance to see it.
So Triple H said something that about set the internet on fire. I think we should talk about it. He was talking about the bloodline and that, them getting more members and building up and stuff. And then he mentioned, I can't remember the exact wording he used, but something about basically, wouldn't it be cool if down the road we got the bloodline versus the Wyatt Sicks? So Triple H saying that pretty much means at some point way down the road that's going to probably happen.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Oh man, because then that means
like, well, which bloodline would it be? The new bloodline or the old bloodline?
Right. Anything that involves us seeing Wobbly Walrus again.
Yes.
Please and thank you. Yeah, man, that's wild. That's wild. So here, I'm going to challenge everyone in chat and everyone that watches our show here, even if you don't watch live and you're watching after the fact. I want you to drop in the comments your theory on where you think this goes next. drop your theory down in the comments. It can be as long or as short as you want to make it, but I want to see some comments under this video, and I want to know what you all think about where this can go. If you want to just focus on Chad Gable, if you want to let us know who you think needs to be the next target, or whatever you want to do, let us know in the comments below this video. Man, so I guess my final question, Chris, before we wrap up, is you've said now a couple times that you were expecting one thing and then they kind of took it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Is that something that you're appreciating about how they're doing this, or does it make it hard to kind of figure out where they're going, and is that a good thing?
Yeah, I love that because I think it's cool to go in and with expectations and then have them be completely wrong. Like and that's one of the things I like overall that I feel like WWE's been doing right lately. For a while there, I always have hated it when you go into a pay-per-view and you're like, well, I know who's going to win this match. I know who's going to win this match. I know who's going to win this match. Like, it's so predictable. I hate that. And they've been doing such a good job just overall lately with making it so a lot of these matches and stuff are not predictable. I don't know, go into it not knowing who's going to win. And that's what I love that about this storyline. I've had ideas about where I thought this is going to go, and then it's completely different, and that's awesome. I love to be surprised, and then it gives us more to talk about. And I think it's better. It gets more buzz created anyway when it's people are expecting one thing and then get another. It gives us more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree. I think whatever we get next is going to be fun. I'm a little bit older, so I'm a little more patient, I guess. I don't want them to rush it. That's that's my only thing, is that I know sometimes the fans can be loud and that sways some decision making. But I'd really, really like it if they took their time and really, really laid this out the way I think they can.
Yeah, I hope that fans can try and be patient with this, because even if we for the next few weeks all we got was just a videotape of each of the different characters, like I'm cool with that. I think that's awesome. I think it really sets up a good backstory, even if we don't see him in the ring for a while. Even though I am super curious to know how that's going to work with them in the ring. Are they going to be able to wrestle in those masks, or maybe because of the backstories, maybe we don't see them in the mask. Maybe we see just the actual people. Yeah. That might be good. I thought about that after that. Maybe that's how they set that up for them to wrestle without the mask, but we know the backstory of who they are and why they're doing that and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, whatever they do, though, I'm interested in. They have me. They've got me hooked.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the next steps are. There were a lot of things that they did last night that I thought were just absolutely spectacular. And again, I know we talked about this last week, but once this show hits Netflix, stuff like we saw last night is gonna look even better. I'm excited.
Something else I noticed too. Did you notice that every single one of them has a red circle on them somewhere?
Yep. Exactly. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And
very good nod to Bray.
Yeah. That's special too. I mean, just constantly seeing that that reminder, that memory. Paying honor.
He has a strand of red in his dreads, like Bray used to.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Chris, man. Well, this was another good discussion, man. This was
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
it's
this,
so
and
cool to have this stuff again. I've missed this.
yeah, me too, man. Me too. So, and as always, we got to say this: the other part of the conversation is all of you in chat. So, thank you all for your comments. I apologize for not being able to get to all of them. We've had a lot of people here again this week. So I apologize for not being able to get to all of them. But again, if you can drop us some comments in the under the video in the comments, we'll get to those next week. I'll start, you know, picking like 3 or 4 comments and kind of bringing it back to the next episode. So, all right, man. What do you say, Chris? We do this again next week?
Sounds good. Can't wait to see what happens next week on Raw.
Same, man. Same here, man. Well, like I said earlier, we will be back here on Thursday for TNA Wrestling for our watch along. So come join us for that. If you're not a TNA fan, it's okay. There's plenty of room on the bandwagon. We've got plenty of space, and Chris just recently started watching TNA, and what are your thoughts as you've gotten back into it, Chris?
It's really cool, and what I like most about it, it actually reminds me a lot of WWE and the things that I like about WWE. Like I tried to watch AEW for a while and I just couldn't get into it. This is more of my TNA is more my style of wrestling. They're focused more on storylines than I felt like AEW did, and they're not afraid to go out there with some of their characters and stuff. Some of them are a bit wild, like PCO and stuff. Like that was really cool last week with him going on a date.
Yeah,
I love silly stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun wrestling, and it's nice to have something else that I am enjoying watching besides just WWE. It's just another night of fun wrestling to watch.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gave it a try, give it a try. It's very cheap to be able to watch it, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep, lots of fun, and again, I think they have something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you like your out of left field characters like PCO, you're gonna have a good time. If you like your 5-star matches, they've got those too. If you like factions, they've got plenty of factions.
If you like the Hardys, they're back there now together.
They're back there now. So I mean they've got something for everyone. And I don't just say that because we do a watch along for it. Mm-hmm. Even if we didn't do a watch along for it, and you're a wrestling fan, and you asked me what other promotions, what other shows should I be watching out there, I would recommend TNA right away. Because it's just that good. So, all right. Well, Chris, had a lot of fun, man. Had a blast.
Fun.
Yeah, good conversation. And again, thank everyone. Yeah, thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for joining in and giving us your thoughts and theories and just what you're hoping to see going forward. So yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, but if not, we'll see you again next Tuesday for another episode of Fireflies Forever. And I'm pretty sure, Chris, we'll have a lot to talk about.
I think so.
All right, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.